Hello, Yushman. Have a nice day. Sorry. What does HTML in Zig means exactly? Well, what matters is HTML language server. So this is what I'm doing. Let me see if I can find an example of that. I have so many tabs open. Mm, so this is it. It's something that tells you when your HTML syntax is wrong. So it's not HTML in Zig like JSX is for JavaScript. It's just a program that is written in Zig. So it's for normal HTML. You can use it with your it's also like in VS Code. It's available on the marketplace. It's called Super HTML. The stuff that I'm working on is pretty critical, and I haven't released it yet. So what's available right now on the VS Code store is not doesn't yet have all these nice error messages, but I'm getting closer to publishing all these new changes. So this is the idea. I know very little about building LSPs in general. Seems very data heavy, lots of MDN docs to read. Yes, although I do have MDN docs in here, but that's because I'm copy pasting their definitions so that I can put them and show them in the LSP. But it's worse than that. You don't. If you want to do this work, you don't read MDN. MDN is not the authoritative source. The authoritative source is the spec. So you read the HTML spec. And sometimes MDN is not perfectly aligned with the spec. Sometimes MDN, these things are being modified as we speak, so they're not always, in perfect lockstep. I guess my point is, MDN is good and it's useful and it's nice to read. I'm not saying that you should, when doing web development, you should read the spec and not MDN. That would be impractical. But when you're doing this kind of work, like an LSP, you go read the spec, not MDN, as your starting point. And then, of course, yeah, you can use MDN to copy paste stuff, which is what I'm doing. Yeah, it's data heavy for sure. You also have to like reverse engineer what this HTML spec is attempting to convey, which is not always obvious with its rules, like what system it's trying to model. And then you try to implement that in an efficient way, because the way they suggest you implement stuff makes no sense. So, yeah. Fuck, I knew they had rules also in global attributes. I hate this. I really hate this. God, I hate this. I hate this fucking spec talking about problematic stuff. Like, for example, here. No, the YWG definition specifies that item ID must be a URL. However, the following example correctly illustrates that a URN may also be used. This consistency may reflect the complete nature of the microdata specification. In an ideal world, the spec would be easy to read. Yeah. The thing is, there's not just like a long history of things that over time we kind of discovered that they weren't the greatest idea ever, but there's also new ideas that keep getting added to HTML that are not great ideas in my opinion. And there's a lot of like I have the distinct feeling that at least some of the people working on this spec, I don't know, they don't really write websites, or they write websites in a way that is very different from the way people write websites, or in most definitely they do not write tooling for HTML and they don't care about that perspective. So they don't make tooling easy to write. It's weird. It's really weird. Like there's weird stuff going on with the HTML spec. So I don't know. Another set of unique space separated tokens. Oh god, there's... Okay, let's not do this. Hello, PP Volto. Currently, a lot of stuff. I'm doing global attributes. I'm implementing global attributes, and I just have to go through the full list of those bad boys. Okay, it seems that we did it, at least like a first pass. We need to add more though. We are missing class, for example, and we're missing slot. Hello, those streams. I'm writing a language server. You know, one where you write HTML and it tells you when you make mistakes. And I'm implementing the class attribute right now. I'm actually very far along. I for some reason I left this as one of the last things to do. I've also implemented rules for almost every single item, and I have a list of to-dos before I can publish this, but I'm getting close. Am I reading chat from my terminal? I am indeed. It's an IRC plus YouTube chat client that I wrote a while ago. Okay, not bad. Okay, so we have ID, class, and slot. And you would think we're done, but yeah, I wish. Problem is, after these bad boys and these guys, then there's these guys. But the good news is that I think all of these guys are the same. They might have like different well, they have different names, sure. But I think it's fine. So let's make this happen. How do we do this? Basically, we have to create one of these guys for each one of these guys that I just copy pasted, huh? Delightful. Well, first of all, get rid of the star. Fuck. Okay. Well, there we go. So they don't have descriptions, but I think it's fine to leave this for like the future, basically, and leave it as is for now. There's another thing that we're missing. So let's say that all these things are done. Let's see if we build, if we have like compile errors, by the way. Then we need to deal with data dash attributes because we don't do those. Empty. Ooh, typo. Empty. Next problem. Parsing. What's the problem, dude? Oh, it wants the base. Base 10. And there's no try to catch. Inserted type U32 found U size. So we have two, which line is it? 307. Intcast. Okay, so we need to do data attributes. Let me quickly check my to-do list. So we are done with global attributes. Take this out, take this out. We have to do this. I'm gonna move it here. Okay. So how do we do data attributes? Basically, every time we're looking into global attributes, we want to look into data. We want to also grab data attributes. Let me think about it for a second. That is one way of doing it. But that means that would break the assumption that every time you go in there, what are the rules for data attributes? Let's take a look at the rules for data attributes. At least one character after the hyphen. Oh, there are rules. It has to start with data dash. I see. Oh, man. All attribute names on HTML elements and HTML documents get ASCII lowered automatically, so the restriction on ASCII uppercase letters doesn't affect such documents. Huh. So how do we do this? We can skip those, maybe. We can skip those. So, man, this is so annoying. We could make that get returns an optional on global attributes. Hmm. I am a little bit unsure about this part. I think, 3 ways forward. One minimizes the amount of typing that I have to do, which, it's nice, but also should not be what I optimize for. The other 2 options, I guess, are roughly equivalent. And it would require changing a bunch of files. Yeah, I think we need to change get to also be optional. That's how we do it. Okay, I know the path forward. Okay, I think I'm going to take a quick break to make some tea, and I'll come back and we are going to enjoy implementing data attributes. Man, I can't wait. I don't know about you, but I just cannot wait. Also, every time we suggest global attributes, we need to suggest also the data dash attributes. And these guys can be put everywhere, like literally everywhere. But yeah, right. But we don't customize attributes. So, okay, data attributes, also completions. This is gonna be cool. No, it's not, but whatever. Let's pretend it will be. Okay, give me a sec. I'll be right back. I'm back. Okay, so 8 attributes, huh? What fun. So how does this work? Well, instead of doing all.get right away, yeah, attribute.global. I guess we can rename it to global set. And then we do pub const get global. And we kind of give it the same signature, which I mean, it's just a string. And it returns. Oh, right. But there's an attribute set. It already had a bunch of things, right? Yeah. Get. And then had null. Oh, I see. You know what? Maybe that's not it. No, it has to be it. So the problem is that we had get and index. So get returns null when there's no model. So that could return a, well, actually shouldn't return anything. Alternatively, we do it manual everywhere we do this. Oh, we can't do equal ignore case. But we can do this, I guess. But we can do this. Okay, so with this we can do is data. completions. So let's see, total count is this. And when utters, was 1. Let's take a look again. So scene count. Oh, right, because we can't re-suggest the same attribute multiple times. But we should always suggest at the end if utter value. Oh, right. Here we are suggesting contents. And here we are suggesting actual attributes. Okay. Total count minus scene count. Okay, let's think about this logic again a little bit more. So we create a list of completions, which is the total count minus the ones that we've seen. Start an iterator. And for each one of these guys, it says if it's there or not. Then we have to do this. Items at items IDX. And this guy is data description. Okay, I think that's how it should be. That said, we are not going to build because we have broken a lot of things. So we need to go fix them in the meantime. So yeah. A.zig. Now the adventure begins. Attribute global.index or else if attribute.is data name. Do we continue? Hopefully we can just add this in a bunch of places and be happy. You know what? Yeah, this is actually error proof though. Let's go do this. Let's change it to error set, global set everywhere. This is just so that I can get a reliable build error everywhere I haven't updated. Although, you know what? Now this will build, but it's not going to be correct. Okay, but let's do project-wise search. Global.get. So this is the list of things that we have to worry about. So there were two entries in here. Oh, it's the one below. Oops. And what is this? Okay. Description. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Let's see how we do. Data foo is fine. Duplicate attribute name. Perfect. Oh, we crashed auto completion. Shit. We broke some math. We broke some math. Attribute 1049. So we broke some math here. Why? I think we need to take a look also at the scene index because some of this stuff is whack, actually. STT.next. So STT is a start tag iterator. Okay, so we iterate over start tag attributes, grab the name, and we try to grab a name and a we try to see if it's an attribute of the model or if it is a global attribute. And that sets stuff to true. Otherwise, we ignore it, which is fine. That's what we should do with data attributes. So this is all fine. Font is Fira code. So this is all fine. But somehow this global list scene index minus element authors list len was whack. Scene iterator unset. This is interesting because this stuff that I'm doing down here happens after this is done. So the fact that we broke this, the fact that we broke this is something different. Also, global.list. Yeah. Oh, this is interesting because we changed the length of items, but like in this algorithm. But in this algorithm, we haven't changed this nor this indexing because I think that this is based on the length. So this is unchanged. Could these be changed? I don't know. I don't think so. This is kind of weird what's happening. Also, my panic function is not I wish my panic function told me exactly what's going on. It's on me. I don't know why my panic function is this dumb. Why doesn't my panic function print messages when it should? Where's the message? It should be printing the message, but it doesn't. Like, what the fuck? So the new line, maybe that helps. There we go. We immediately cause a crash. Yeah, unfortunately, that does not help at all. Well, fuck. Why's my panic dumb? Oh. Oh. Wait a second. Yeah. Why am I not? Oh my god. Oh my god. Am I really like this? I am like this. No return function returns. I mean, yeah, you're right, but also, fuck, I also wrote it here, so it's being wrong all along. I don't know, catch unreachable. Oh, that's what I want. I want catch break BLK. Oh, which is also basically this. Okay. Index out of bound. Index 99, length 99. Okay, I think I understand what's going on now. I think the length of scene depends on the thing that we increased by 1, and I didn't notice. Scene, yeah, it's based on total count. Fuck. So let's not do it like this. This is total count. This is all fine. But then when we make the list, where do we make the list? Here. Items must be longer by 1. Okay, so I think we did it. Or at least we got to the next error. Next error. Yeah, there we go. Oh, so we don't increase it by 1? Okay, sounds good. I thought we had to increase it by 1. So for data foo, it should not suggest this, but okay. That said, name content. Let's try again. So suggest the ones specific to this element first, then ID and class, which I think it's fine. ID, class, slot, and then everything else, including all the shitty on these, on that. And then at the very end, data attribute. That's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad. Do the data attributes need to have a value? They don't, right? So is there anything, let's see, in MDN data attribute? Oh, we could call it data.dash star. I don't know. So they keep doing examples where they do have a value. Do they have to have a value? Of course, there's just no way of knowing. Custom attributes are also supported in SVG2. Oh man, what delight. Okay, I'll assume that as is, it's okay. So this is it. We have completed this. We have 8 data attributes. So what is next? So this was boring, but it was necessary because we had a ton of like depth with regards to global attributes, and we finally fixed all of it. So now we can finish HTML elements, or this is another big and annoying one. Like, we have wrong URL parsing. We need to fix it. Oh, check for duplicate class names. I have. Also, I need to make it a warning. LSP, logic. No, it's not in logic. It's in LSP. No, actually, it is in logic. So in here, severity, we need to change this. So duplicate class is a warning. Okay, so where is it? Done. Done. Okay, I guess we can resume doing elements at this point and start getting closer to 116. But we actually made a ton of progress. It doesn't feel like it, but we made a ton of progress. So with elements, we are so close to being done. We have option in here that we left behind. But then other than that, everything else is done. We're missing like just these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. Wait, am I missing something? Are we really missing? Is this number up to date? That number might not be up to date. Let's do the count. $110. Oh, we were at 110. We forgot to update this. That explains it. Oh no, wait. No, actually, we are at 110, and title does not have done. Why does title not have done? Oh, because of its parsing inside. Right. Let's give it done. Let's leave it like this for now. We're gonna need to fix it though. Oh, this is gonna be tough. Okay, TR, track, var, and WBR. Let's do this, guys. Let's go to elements. Okay, 0 or more TD, TH, and script supporting elements. Sounds good to me. So this is actually one that we can completely pull off in a data-driven way. So let's do this. And does it have attributes? It doesn't even have attributes, so we can have a super simplified version of this. So th becomes tr. We don't need this. We don't need this. Model is going to be category is none. Content model is none because it only wants script supporting, which we don't categorize. So it's going to be none. Attributes manual, static. Content is going to be simple. Extra children. TD, TH, script, template. There we go. Forbidden Descendants, I think nothing. I think it's just a matter of extra children. And that's it. Description. Okay, here we go. So this is the R. Okay. Track. Okay. So we have this. Well, track. I think it's a void element. Yeah, it's void, but it does have attributes. I knew it. Okay, so we need to go to th and copy some attribute sheet. Okay, let's see what attributes we need. Kind, source lang, label default. Okay, so kind. Is that a meme thingy? No, it's an enumerated attribute. Okay. Subtitles, captions, descriptions. Subtitles, captions, descriptions, chapters, metadata. Okay. Default. The fuck? There's no default in here. Oh my god. Like yet another situation where MDN is completely out of sync with the spec. Kind. Oh wait, what the fuck am I doing? No, default is an attribute. I'm looking at the contents of the kind attribute. Okay, never mind. I take everything back. It was me being dumb. Okay, so kind attribute description. Where's descriptions? Where's descriptions? MDN forgot about descriptions. Okay, so this time I'm actually correct. Here, there we go. Okay, we have it. Okay, source. It's a URL. Okay. I'm guessing source should go first. Oh shit, there's also these rules. So we're gonna need to implement an attribute validation function. What the light? What the light? Okay, source lang, source langs. We have label and the default. Okay, label. So source kind. Not empty. Okay, and the last one is default. I'm assuming it's bool. Ooh, this may only be used by one track element per media element. Delightful. So who should be checking for this? I mean, these rules are truly a delight, if I have to say. So I think this means that no, we don't implement attribute validation in here. We make it manual, and it's going to be the parent element that has to do this work. So please tell me that this guy can only be nested inside audio and video and nothing else. Please, God. As a child of a media element, okay, so it's either okay. So we can implement this in the parent. It's the only sane way for doing this. So okay, we have everything. Oh, I didn't check the default is bool, but it should, right? It's a boolean attribute. Perfect. Okay. Did I give it a description? I did, yeah. Okay, perfect. So now validation of these guys goes into audio video. So audio video now gets to enjoy parsing attributes on its children. Oh, what do you know? We were already doing this. Why? No, I think we were looking at our own attributes with this. Scene attributes, let me see. With the init it here, if has source. Oh, here we look at ourselves. Never mind. To be honest, we could do the attribute validation in here at this point, so we do it only once. I'm going to leave that as an improvement for the future. So, but we do keep track of scene attributes. Why? Because if we see source, oh, we use scene attributes to validate source. But for track, we don't do much, do we? So this is the state that we're in. If we're in state track, okay. So here we need to do validate track. And we need to do validate track, and we need to track which one of them has the default attribute and complain if more than one has the default attribute. What joy. To be honest, I don't think it even needs a dedicated function because it's trivial. It really is trivial. Do we have a VAIT going on in here? No, we don't. So do we have child span? We don't. Oh, well, it's child span literally, right? I keep forgetting. This guy resets scene attributes, right? Oh, this guy creates a VAIT. Do we not? Oh, is this this might be a problem. Do we really not reset scene attributes? Are we forgetting to reset scene attributes? That's a problem. Let's see if this is broken. Wait, why is this fine? Where am I resetting this? I must be resetting it in here then. There's just no way. Oh, it's the VAIT that resets it on usage. I get it. This guy resets it inside. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Okay, nothing to complain about. So, validating iterator. Nah, you know what? Yeah, let's make it a function. Scene attribute source, parent kind, node span, node index. Track attributes. This guy doesn't have type nor media. Invalid nesting. Invalid attribute nesting. Oh shit. I don't think we have this rule, but we need to do this. So there's scene source. Okay, let's look at the rules for track. So source must be present. If kind is subtitles, source lang must be present. Okay. Let's start writing down these rules. So scene source var scene source lang. So kind, I guess, is necessary then. So it's not necessary. And it defaults to, hey Toggle, thank you for the raid. Hello everybody. you just can't get enough of HTML spec, huh, Toggle? Is that it? I bet that you stopped the stream just because you couldn't wait to come and watch me read more of the HTML spec. We're talking about stand-up collabs of 15 minutes. As in, during Toggle stream, having like guests for 15 minutes, come on stream. But what's the stand-up part? Is it like stand-up comedy, or is it like Toggle asking you what you did yesterday, what you did today, and if you have any blocker? Or you asking him, actually? Okay, so this means that kind is, so it's gonna be like this. Kind state is gonna be Kind is subtitles equal is an optional boolean. Look at what the spec is making me do. It's making me create optional booleans, man. Yes, I'm using callback. I don't think I'm using the DH one. I think I'm using the one with D and H in the normal position. You have callback keycaps? No, I do not, because I have one of these guys, and they don't come with that. The trick is not to look at the keyboard at all. Yep. What is it like knowing that you have written the only actual good LSP in existence? It's mind blowing, isn't it? That is, it's such so while I don't think of it as a particularly crazy achievement, but at the same time, I think this should inform. It has informed my perception of the state of our industry, and I think it should inform also, your perception in this sense. When you study computer science and you start working, you are presented with all these methodologies and frameworks and tools. And while, sure, on paper, you know that the state of technology today is not done. And 10 years from now, things will be very different. But it's kind of, or at least how I always perceived it, you kind of perceive this as, yeah, out there's like unknown, yet unknown good ways of doing things that we have to discover. You don't think that the state of what we already have and that we know very well how should work, and it's just like a disaster. You don't think of it this way. And yet, the more I learn about programming, the more I realize that a lot of the things that we have that by now should be, good, they are not quite there, like not even remotely. So it's 2026 almost, and yeah, we don't have a HTML language server. And hilariously enough, by the way, this as soon as I publish this like chunk of work, I'm gonna make a blog post about it, and I think I'm gonna title it "Super HTML is now state of the art." And then the first sentence that I'm gonna put in the blog post is gonna be, to be clear though, that does not mean that Super HTML is good. I'm just saying that it's state of the art, not that it is good, because the state of the art is nowhere near good. So, I don't know. It is what it is. I do think, though, that there is a real possibility for people who want. So I'm not talking about, gigantic revolution, but I think there is a possibility for people who want to use Super HTML and, other similar tooling and do web development, not necessarily with a framework, not necessarily using a framework. I mean, it is possible to do web development without frameworks. That's not, that's nothing new. But I do think that if you start combining decent vanilla HTML tooling with Shadow DOM and templates, you can get pretty far. Like, you can get really far before you need a JavaScript framework. Does anybody here in chat use template, Shadow DOMs, and that kind of stuff? I never used template myself, but I've done the same technique that basically Shadow DOM standardizes. Well, I should say template because that's the element that you end up using. In any case, like you can template HTML from HTML with just a little bit of JavaScript very easily, and you don't need React. And like for example, this. The standard library documentation for Zig, this has no framework. This has some Zig code that runs in WebAssembly for language analysis, but then the whole UI is just implemented using by templating some HTML. This doesn't use template and the Shadow DOM, although it could. But I don't know. you can get far. I used to do this. Here's what's funny. I used to do something very close to this a long time ago using a framework called transparency. Which I haven't used this thing in like ages. Like, look at this. Last commit 13 years ago, 10 years ago. Jesus Christ. So it's been a long time. But here's how this works. You create some HTML with classes, IDs, and data attributes. And then you have a JavaScript data structure, and then you just call render on that element, passing in your data structure. And the framework just fills everything out. And it also works with lists, and has some. It's a bit. It can be smarty pants when it needs to, and this is not bad. But this is also very old. So, and now basically this general functionality, maybe not exactly as a one-liner, but this general approach, you also have with templates. So, I don't know. Also, if anybody is watching from New York, Zig Day New York has been announced. If anybody cares. Anyway, back to our main programming. Okay, so if we find kind, we need to parse it manually because we need to know if we are subtitles in the subtitles case or not. So const m equals, or I can do model equals comp time track utters dot get kind I think it's you switch on model dot rule dot list dot match. Oh, come on. There's too many build errors, so ZLS is unable to resolve this for us. Really? This works though, right? Yes. Okay, so you're giving me a rule, and a list rule has a set, so you do dot set dot get. Set dot get what? Oh, the attribute value, right? No, actually, if it's missing, there should be an error. There's no child IADX. What do you call it? Oh, just node IDX. Okay. Oh, I know why it doesn't autocomplete. Maybe because this code is not being called. No, you know what? Actually, I don't know. Okay, so this is the value, and then const here you get kind. You can put it up top. Okay, and this is going to be rule.comptime index of subtitles. Yes, and I guess this instead of a bool, it's a span. No, it has to be bool. Okay, so if it's subtitles, then we do kind is subtitles equals true. Also, I think this is an optional. Oh, this is complicated. Is it? Do I need to do set get? I think I can do something different. Man, I forget how you do this with values, but yeah, we need to do this. Who does this? Meta, I think, does this. Meta cares about the values of things. So how do you do this? Yeah, look at this model.match. Yeah, list has match. Fuck. You see? That's what I was looking for. Okay, and you switch on match. Yeah. And this is like the least case. Validate. You know what? This could be made much better like this. Okay. Okay, so we have this. If it's any other value, well, no, if the match is anything other than the list, we should complain. Yeah, try. Well, but I think I don't remember the signature of match. What does match accept? Yeah, match wants all the errors stuff. Um, so we don't have to worry about it. Okay, so this should do it. Okay, so we know this. So with this, we know that we saw also source lang, and now we can do the validation. Are there any other absurd rules about this stuff? So source lang, blah blah blah. If the element has a source lang attribute string which is not the empty string, then the element track language. An attribute, otherwise not track language. Okay. Yeah, the attribute must be present if the kinds attribute is in the subtitles state. Label attribute gives a user readable blah blah blah. Apparently that's not mandatory. If the attribute is present, must not be the empty string. Okay, which I think we do. not empty. Okay. There, furthermore, there must not be two track element children of the same media element whose kind attributes are in the same state. Fucking god. Whose source lang attributes are both missing or have values. Oh my god. Or and whose label attributes are again both missing or both have the same value. Who wrote this? Good question. These people are like, I should be more positive. I should be more positive. I shouldn't say bad things about people. That said, I will say that if somebody has been paid to do this work and this is what they did, okay. I think you're too optimistic. I don't think that happened. I think this is all like very main. There is so much weird in precision, and there's so much weirdness in the spec that I guarantee you it's not machine generated. Or let me put it this way: it's a very weird machine that generated this stuff. Probably drunk. So, what does this mean? This means that for track, we need to keep around a hash map of I don't know. I think I'm gonna leave this stuff as A to do. These are like way too much rules. I'm too tired by this whole thing. I think this is gonna be a future improvement. Right now, we just deal with the basic stuff and then we will leave it at that. I think this is fine. There should not must be two track children of the same media element whose kind attributes are in the same state, whose source lang are both, and whose label attributes are again both in the missing state. I think these are like one by one, right? So you cannot have two track children that have kind in the same state. No, that's not true because obviously there can be more than one subtitle track. So no, I think this is an end. So there cannot be two things that are in the same that have the same kind that don't have are both missing or have the same language and have the same attribute. Okay, so the same label. So they have to have these three things differ. If all of these three things match, then there is a problem. This is way too much. I'm gonna leave it as A to do. Okay. In any case, kind is subtitles, so we know this. Otherwise, try to find a global attribute. If it doesn't, we don't find it. Validate it. Not seen source, then complain that we're missing a right thing, and then if what was it? And so if kind is subtitles, yeah, actually this can be a try. Okay, let me reread the rule. The attribute must be present if the element's kind attribute is in the subtitles state. Can we give an explanation? There is no reason, but we can do it like this. I guess we can do it like this. Okay, so wait, is it plural? Oh my god, it's plural. Okay, I guess we have this now. So we with this we should have attribute validation. We don't have this last thingy, but we have the rest. Now we need to call this function. We need to call validate track at the right place. I already forgot where that was supposed to be. Oh, you know what we're missing? The default attribute. Okay, now we need to implement the default attribute thing. Default. Okay, so wait. MDN lied again. So MDN said this may only be used on one track element per medium element. That is not true, MDN. So the spec says that it must be unique for subtitles, captions, descriptions in the chapter's metadata. Okay, chapters. But it's not necessarily true for metadata. So if you have tracks with metadata, there is no limit on the number of track elements whose kind attribute is the metadata state and whose default attribute is specified. So I mean, yeah, they even tell you explicitly. I mean, you can deduce it because it's not mentioned in this list, but it's also told, you're also being told explicitly. So MDN is just straight up lying. So it means that to enforce this rule, we also need to keep around kind. So I guess basically what we're saying is kinds tracks with kind metadata do not participate in the system. Let's copy this delightful stuff. Let's go implement it. Okay. So I guess this kind of subtitles needs to change. Var kind state is an optional. It's an optional enum. Make it an enum. Subtitles, captions. We're back to switching. God damn it. Is it singular or plural? Of course it's plural. Okay, so this has been updated. That's great, delightful. Next is like letting this information survive. So we track default. So it has default, and so we know about this. X2. Also scene default, I think, should be an optional span. When we see default, set it to author name, and then we say if there was a first default and we have a scene default, this is the first time that there is like an attribute that we can use invalid utter combination for this, but we can't point at the other one, I guess. So then a boolean, I guess, is fine after all. What am I doing? A boolean is fine then. But I really would like to point to it. You know what? I guess we can make it. We can make a new error code for this. I don't want to make too many error codes, but for this one, uh, duplicate sibling attribute. There's no duplicate attribute name. Oh, we could use this one. The problem is that no, it has to be like this. Let's do it. Let's do it like this. That's how it has to be. And then if here else, we set it here. Perfect. So we have this. Now we just need to, well, pass it down. Hmm. Okay, now we're setting this. Why does it say duplicate here element? What is going on? Attribute, yeah. Here does not have attributes. Yeah. Okay. Oh shit. My editor died in transaction RS. Match once 5, found 4. What do you want? List GPA. Oh. Match. I'm assuming that it's in set, but it might not be. Yeah. Fuck. Take a look at what's next to match. Hmm. Oh. Yeah, rule has comp time index. Wait, did I? Okay. Am I going insane? List. Oh, it's rule dot list, I guess. Subtitles. Perfect. Okay, missing required attributes. Source length, mandatory when kind is not defined, and source. Duplicate attribute name across sibling elements. Not bad. And yeah, this is good. But I mean, we have it. We have it. Okay. So, well, we have pretty much what we wanted to have from track. Are we falling behind again? I think this is like 12. Like either I'm missing something or did I delete like entries in here by mistake? If I didn't delete entries by mistake, then we are further along than 111. Let me double check again. Yeah, 113. Yeah, we're done with track. So that's where we are. Only two remaining. Only two remaining, man. So close. We are so close. So what's VAR? Okay. Yeah, we're getting there. VAR. Let's see. The verb element represents a variable. This could be an actual. Why is there an element for this, man? Why is there an element for representing a variable? so, so there's var sample code uh result. I think they're useless. They're useless. They're absolutely useless. Even code is useless. I mean, under the assumption that CSS exists, of course. But like any quoting element would be fine for code. Like you can use like a quote thing. Like you do quote PRE. Anyway, the good news is that there are no rules for this guy except the very basic ones. So let's go get this done very quick because I have to go. So where do we copy this from? Q maybe? Yeah. For Turing completeness, yeah, that doesn't even help with that. It's so useless. Oh god. Can I copy you? Maybe even? Yeah, let's copy you. Also, wait a second. Look at this guy. It doesn't have attributes. Why do we have this? Why do we have this? Just this. Just the bare minimum necessary stuff. Go to var. Okay, categories: flow phrasing, content phrasing, content phrasing. Yeah, perfect. This is it. Copy the description. Bar is done. Empty set. WBR. I mean, how bad can WBR be, right? Oh, it's a BR. Wait, what is it? A line break opportunity. Oh, cool. It's basically BR just with a W in the name. Sounds good to me. Empty set, which by the way, this means that we could very well delete the temp set. Oh, somebody's using it still. Who's using it? Option. Okay, never mind. We're almost there. Almost there. Option, which I left behind on purpose, is the only one that is missing. Yeah. We're almost there. It's not the grand finale because I'm leaving option behind on purpose because we still have some to-dos to go through before this is actually useful. And here's the chore list. Do all the necessary work to get to go through these other to-dos in terms of implementing missing features that I want to add for this release. Then go to GitHub, create a issue template so that we need an issue template to protect ourselves. Well, I need that to protect myself from people saying, wait, what? So I probably made mistakes. So there are probably bugs in this code, and it is good that people that try it out are able to report these errors. The problem is there is a lot of ignorance out there about what it is that HTML is or isn't, should or shouldn't do. So I need to have an issue template that says, look, you sure, open an issue if you think there's something wrong, but you need to quote where the spec says X and you see Super HTML do Y. Because if you don't do that, then I will not take your issue seriously, because otherwise it's basically going to be HTML school. Like the repo will become HTML school instead of pushing forward this project. So that's something that we need to do. We need to turn into issues all the things that we left behind, all the to-dos that we left behind. Yeah, as I said, there's also some quality of life stuff that we really need to implement. For example, formatting for CSS and JS. It's fine to have a shitty algorithm for it, like one that doesn't parse everything for real, but we need something because right now we don't have anything and it really sucks. So we need to do this. After we do this, then, and like as we do this, then we can finally close everything by implemented option. And it's really gonna be it at that point. So let me do WBR and then I'm gonna go. So I guess I'm gonna copy literally BR. We're gonna raid, I think so. Do you have any suggestions on who to raid? Although if there's somebody doing Zig, I will give them priority. there's no body in any case, so never mind. I think this is it. Flow phrasing, nothing. Yeah, we should rate toggle, I agree. Flow phrasing, nothing. Flow phrasing, nothing. Okay, copy the description. Are they showing also WBR in MDN? Self-closing? Yes, they do. Man, why are you guys... Why are they like this also? Why is MDN showing stuff as self-closing when it doesn't even exist? I get that they... You could say that they concern themselves also with XHTML, but if that is the case, then they should specify this. But they don't. They're just being lazy like everybody else. Okay. Nobody volume would be appropriate. Yeah, that's fair. There's not a lot of people doing software development, and I think... oh, let me take a look. What's in there that isn't Zig? C++, no. Yeah, no, you know what? I think I'm going to be lazy, and you guys will be the ones who decide what your future should be. So, element, this is done. And attribute, empty set. So this is done. This is it. Almost. Almost done. Yeah. 115. Okay, so I'm gonna end the stream here. Next time, we're gonna work on everything but the last element. So we're gonna do... There's a one big item. Let me go through this list, and then I'm gonna call the stream. So we are not parsing URLs correctly because I'm using the standard library URL parser, and I kind of purposely left it at that for up until now. But the standard library URL parser, at least the way that I'm using it, I should maybe double check the code, but it requires you to have an absolute URL with protocol and everything else. While obviously in HTML, that's not all. You can also have relative paths. There's also sometimes situations where where there's rules about the protocol, I guess, because this would be JS colon maybe, or data colon. I don't remember. In any case, sometimes there are extra rules. There's also about colon blank, which is a valid URL, apparently. So we have to worry about these things. The bad ending would be that we have to write our own parser from the spec. And if that's the case, I mean, it's obviously totally doable, but it's going to be ass. JX regex validation, that's going to turn into a to-do because it's not broken, as in we don't have the error right now, but I believe we accept any value, so it's just a missing validation. So turn that into an issue. Doc type parsing. I am parsing the doc type string wrong. Where I was young and naive when I started writing the parser code for the doc type, and I didn't realize how peculiar the spec was. So I implemented it wrong. These guys need to turn into to-dos. This one I think I did. I should double check, but I think I did this one. This one is a performance thing we can delay. This is a fix into the auto formatter that we should do. This is probably a to-do. Also tabs. Should the auto formatter indent with tabs? I'm starting to think that it should. I want to try out implementing the auto formatter using tabs. So we indent with tab and we align with spaces. That's how it should be, right? So let's see how far we get with that. Autocomplete attributes, third option. So there's something in the autocomplete global attribute that we haven't implemented. Delete tag from elements, see what happens. Oh, yeah. This is bug testing, formatting for JS and CSS. Right now, we don't do any auto formatting for CSS. We need to have some of that. Attribute escapes. Oh man, this is going to be for the far future. Let's you know what? Let's not talk about this. Let's assume that I didn't write anything there, because this one is big and I haven't done it yet. And well, anyway, Good errors for CLI interface, right? I didn't wire in the good error printing for the CLI interface. Obviously, we need to do that. Also, should we have a code action that offers turning new lines into BRs? Maybe. And fuzzing, well, that's for the future. In any case, so we have to go through a bunch of these to-dos. So thank you all for hanging out, and I will see you next time. Take care.